Welcome. Today is the first episode of Mass Small Businesses. I'm very excited. I'm here with Ben Nguyen, and we're just super excited. We're going to be shooting a video today with one of the smartest minds in real estate. Her name is Dawn Nguyen. She is the CEO of her small business that she helps people buy homes, sell homes in the Massachusetts area. And we're going to be talking to her today about her best tips and her best information for first-time home buyers, for people selling homes, people looking to understand what the climate is like in the real estate market. So right now she's dropping off her kids. She's gonna come back and we're gonna have a great sit down, a great interview, and we hope you can stick around and get some great information. This is the CRK Investment Group, and so thank you so much. All right, Dawn, it's nice to see you. Do you want to just let everybody know what you do and where you're at right now with all your stuff going on?
Yes, thank you, Brian, for having me here today. So my name is Dawn Nguyen, and I am the founder of CRK Group, a real estate company. We have clients buy and sell houses. But mostly I would like to say that we are in the business of helping people solve problems, because right now one of the biggest problems is housing. People don't have enough houses, inventory to buy, and the rent are going high due to inflation. So most rental units, the rents are actually higher than the mortgage. And I can explain that later, how I can help people invest in their homes and still pay less than they would pay their landlord.
Wow, that is great information, because the rents are getting higher, especially for folks in Quincy and around Massachusetts. It's becoming a bit of a worry for a lot of people, and a lot of the number of houses are becoming less and less, and we'll touch on that. But why did you get into real estate? What drew you in?
Well, it was a passion. So when I was young, my family has always been renting. And my friends invited me and some other girls into her house and for a sleepover. And it was one of the best nights because we girls get to do our hairs and manicures and do all sorts of things that you wouldn't do and during the daylight. Yes, and she has a beautiful basement, and it's all because her parents own the house. So they renovate the basement to their daughter's interest. So at that time, I always wish that my parents would one day buy a house too, so I can renovate the basement and invite my girlfriends over for sleepover. But my parents never did. So when I graduated from university, and my focus was always about buying a house. So even when I took a bus or a subway, and especially a bus, and to go to university, I always look at houses, and I always imagine what kind of family would live in there, what their daughters and sons would be doing in there. So so after I graduated from university, I saved up to about $20,000, and I gave it to my father. I told him that let's buy a house. But he didn't. He declined. And his reason was because he doesn't want to have responsibility as an owner.
Right.
Yeah, so I was extremely disappointed. So I took that money and I bought a house with my boyfriend.
How did that go?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, and it has many problems, but we work it all out, because in my heart it was always about a house. Yes, because that was my dream, my childhood dream. So and then going through many ups and downs of being a homeowner, especially with a partner.
Right.
And then well, we end up getting married, so that works out.
Oh, so it did. Okay.
So that works out. And then I realized that buying a house and owning a house wasn't that hard as people have fear. They make it out like this monster project, but it wasn't. There was like step by step, and if you just follow it, you get to where you want.
Right. So now, if you were a first-time home buyer and it worked out for you, can you talk about people now that are in this climate, in this state? There is a shortage of houses. There is a lot of high rents. People might be looking for first-time home buyer loans from or grants from the state. What can you say to people that are going to try to get into that? Is it a good time to get into that right now?
Well, I would like to say that my dream
Yeah.
is to help everyone in Massachusetts
Right.
to buy their own house and live in their own home.
Right.
And I believe that dream can come true if more people would come to us and ask us. But first, they have to tell us that that is what they wanted for their family, and they're willing to work hard for it, because it's hard work, but it's totally doable. And I believe that if you don't have a house, any time is a good time to buy a house. If you can, because now you can, that doesn't mean a year later you have the same opportunity. So for example, when prices are high, then more housing inventory. You have more opportunity to find your dream home. And guess what? Due to inflations, house always go up. When they go down, it's called a dip. It will always go up, and when it go up, it's always higher than before it go down.
So you're saying it's one of the safest investments?
Yes.
Okay.
Especially if you don't have a home, because that is a must expense. You cannot be homeless. Everybody have to rent. And the problem with renting is you don't know when the landlord is kicking you out.
Right.
They have many reasons to kick you out. They could be divorcing. They have to sell the house. As much as they love you,
Right.
they have to sell the house.
They need the money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And from statistics says that for a child, if they get evicted from a home,
Yeah.
it's devastating
Right.
to a child's mentality.
So it could actually affect your family.
Yes.
That's a huge thing, because there's a lot of kids that are growing up renting. Their parents are trying to figure things out, and you're
Yes.
saying that a smart investment would be put the funds together. What would you say for a family that's having a trouble gathering the funds for the down deposit?
Okay, so there's mass dream programs
Yeah.
that if you qualify, you can get up to $50,000 for down payment.
Yeah.
And then we have other ways that help. We give free consultations, and we have family set up a savings plan for a down payment. And everybody needs a savings plan, because money attracts money. And when you know that you have money in the back, in your bank or in your savings plan, there's a confidence and a peace of mind, and that radiates and attract more good things into your life. You don't want to walk around and people automatically sees that you have no savings. You are like one paycheck away from homeless.
Right. You're
Yes,
struggling. Yeah.
yes. So we have saving plans for clients like
Great.
1 to 5 years, depends on their abilities. Yes, and they can use that money to help them with the down payment. Especially the first-time home buyers, there's only 3.5% down payment. And if you find a good seller who understands and have empathy, they will be willing to pay for your closing cost.
Oh, what a bonus that is.
Exactly, and we have ways to work with sellers to help out, because everybody want to make money and do the right thing and help people.
Right.
Yeah, win-win for everybody.
It's the best of both worlds. You can make money, and then you could also help somebody move into a home. Now, is that one of your favorite things about working with people in the housing industry, where what's your favorite thing? Is it moving people in? Is it having people sell a house and get another house, and then they're starting to build their inventory? What's your favorite thing about it?
Yes. So when people sell houses, I usually ask them heart to heart, like the reason that they sell the house. I always try to set them up so they can buy another house ASAP, because having that money, idle money right there, they're gonna be spending in places that they regret. Yes, and so my favorite thing is actually helping people buy a house, because I can feel that it's their dream, especially if they said that it's their dream, and it's like you're helping a family realizing their dream. You are a part of it.
You're a part of it.
Yes, and a lot of people don't think that they can own a house or buy a home, and but once they talk to me, they realize that it's doable, it's achievable, because we have I can think outside the box and relocate all the funds into where it should be. And there is just so many people don't know the benefit of owning a house. There are so many benefits. The first home is, of course, the peace of mind, and that you can build the family in the home, and you don't have to worry that you get evicted. And the second thing is equity. A lot.
About that.
Yes. A lot of my clients, after they buy a house from me, their spouse, their husbands end up working harder. I will help them find a second part-time job or a second source of income through sometimes like fixing up some of the rooms and renting it out, sharing it to another family member. They never think of that, but so the more and they do more work, and they just do like fixer upper, do a little bit here and there. But what they don't realize is, because their time are spending into their home, they have built up their equity. Yes, and when the client pay to the landlord, that money is gone. But if they pay into the mortgage, they actually amortize their mortgage, so they're paying it down.
They own that.
Yes, they're paying it down. And then when the market go up, that's appreciation. That means there's even more equity in the house. Yeah, so if they are patient enough to pay for 30 years, then they actually own their own house outright. But even if they keep it for 5, 10, 15 years, with the amortization, paying it down, and the appreciation, the market go up, they have that huge equity that they can tap in. They can use their equity line and to open up their new business or to buy another house. And I would like to also talk to you about home equity line. It's such a great product that a lot of people don't know. They all hear about refinance or refinance cash out, and those are a fixed mortgage. But even if you take that money and you don't invest in anything, you're still paying for that interest. But if you have a line of equity in your home, for example, you can get 300,000, let's just say. So that 300,000 is like a credit card. It's there with low interest. Okay, sometimes it's 4%, sometimes 5 or 6. Now it's about 7.
Which is
It
outrageous.
fluctuates.
Yeah, which
It
is-
fluctuates. When the interest go down, it automatically go down. When it go up, it automatically go up. But it's there. If you don't use it, you don't pay for it. And when you use it, you use $10,000. Then you pay for the interest on that $10,000 only. And then when you pay it back, then it's that 300,000 right there waiting for you to use it in case of emergency or when that opportunity arrive.
Right.
It's always there for you.
You could tap into it when you need to.
Anytime.
Anytime.
That is like an amazing product that a lot of people don't know that they have.
Right. And so for like a first-time home buyer, for somebody in their mid-20s or even in their 30s that's just for the first time exploring this option, their 40s, what would be the biggest thing that you would let them know, like, hey, take advantage of this, or if they have bad credit, or what is a way that somebody could get back on their feet and get into this industry and actually, whether they're doing it to rent out like a multifamily, or they're actually trying to live there, rent out the rooms, what's the best thing that you could say to people that are having had a tough time getting into this? What would you say would be the biggest thing that you would share with them?
Okay, so first of all, they have to have a job.
That would be good.
Yes, that's the first up is a job.
Yeah.
For at least 2 years.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's why we work with clients like from 1 to 3 years, because they come to us and they're like, I really want to own a house, but I don't have a job now. We will help them find a job and then tell them the plan for the next 2 to 3 years.
So what would happen if somebody came to you and they didn't have pay stubs from a year, and the person that's selling the home and the seller is saying, hey, we're not so sure that this person, or the bank might say, hey, we're not sure if this person is stable enough to receive a loan or a good loan.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what happens with those situations?
That's why I said we work with them from 1 to 3 years. First of all, the client come to us, then we will help them pull the credit, and they have to work on the credit. First, the most important is a job. The second is the credit.
Right.
Yeah, the down payment we can figure out ways. Yeah, it's not as important as those two.
Right.
Yeah, and then we work on the saving up for the down payment.
Right.
Yes, and we help them like build the credits.
So what's the most popular area in Massachusetts right now? Is it Norfolk County? Is it what towns are popular right now for first-time home buyers or people that are looking to sell their homes? Is there a bubbling area that seems to be more popular right now that you could say, hey, we've done a lot of work in this area? Like, what are your most popular towns that you work with?
For my clients, yes. It could be a little biased, but for my clients, I see that Quincy and Randolph are the two most popular that the Asian love to come in.
Right.
Yes, and as to buy a house, I would like to recommend people that if this is your first home, you should look into a duplex. Duplex.
Yeah.
The reason is it's almost like a single house, because you just you have your own backyard, front yard, side yard. The only thing is attach the wall to your tenant.
And then they're helping you pay off?
Yes, they are. That's why I said that I can help them come up with a plan where their mortgage is less than the rent.
Right.
Yes, because the other side already have pay more than half of the mortgage. Yes, and then they get to live on their side, and they can do a fence. And if they do a fence, it's like your own single house. You don't need to see your tenant if you don't have to.
Duplexes are amazing, and it's not quite a multifamily you're saying, but it's not quite a house. It's a duplex.
Yes.
And that's a great thing. I might have to talk to you after this about that, just for me, because if you can get a home and then split it with somebody.
Yes, that's another thing. I'm trying to help more people, like two family, like siblings or friends. They cannot afford a house, and one can do the handiwork, and one have enough for the 3.5%. I'm like, why don't you match up? The
Yeah.
guy with the money and the guy that do the carpentry up, the carpentry work.
Yes.
And both of you can have your own house.
That's right.
Yes, and when the time is right, you can like split it into a condex.
Right.
That's like your own. Each person own your own deed.
Right. And have you worked with anybody that's been through the Mass Dreams program? How has that been? If you worked with that, because I know that there are some complications where they have to wait until the offer is submitted to actually work with the individual, with the loan that the bank is going to give, or the grant, the $50,000 or the $30,000 for the deposit. Have
Yes.
you worked with anybody that's been with that program?
Yes. So what happened is they have to contact us first.
Yeah.
And then we would tell them which mortgage company that does Mass Dream programs. Not all mortgage company does Mass Dream program, because there's a lot of rules and regulations and guarantee that they have to do.
Right.
So some of them don't want the headaches.
Yeah.
So we can locate tell them a few mortgage company that deals with the Mass Dream. And then the mortgage rep has to run their credit and check their income and see what town they live in and where they're buying. So there's a whole bunch of requirements, that a whole list to make sure that the client qualify. And once it qualify, they will get a pre-approval.
Right.
Yes, and of course they have to do the class with the Mass Dream program and everything. Yes, so once they have that pre-approval, then they come back to us, and that's when we take them to go see houses.
Right. And so for your group, for you, what separates you guys? Is it you? Is it your love for actually working with people? Do you like working with people? What separates you guys that you feel like if somebody is really interested, like what separates your group here? What separates you? How do you feel about that? Like, what makes you special that you could say to somebody, I'm here to work with you, I'm here to help you? What is it about you that is so willing to work with people? What is it about your group here?
Yeah, so first of all, like I said, when I was young, I was that child that always wished their parent would buy a house.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure a lot of parents don't know that their children deeply, that's their wish. And so I have it in me, like my passions is to help family find a home, so they can build their family and they can raise their children. So and when I talk to a client, it's not about making a sales, but it's about helping them by buying that home. Yeah, whichever home they can tell us, and then we tell them every step of the way how to achieve that home.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very how to say it, internal.
Yeah.
Yes, it's when I look at the client, I ask a lot of questions because I'm trying to see how I can use what that clients have into getting something that they don't even think that they can afford.
It's not possible, but until
Yes.
you show them, right?
Exactly.
Right.
So I show them the dream. Yes, and then they will realize that it's doable after I break it into little pieces.
Right.
Yes.
Well, that's so special, because I mean, like you said, a lot of parents don't realize, like, your kid might be going to school and they might be with friends, and their friends might have homes, and then their kid comes home and, you know, they're sharing an apartment, or they're walking through the hallways, and there's other, you know, so that kind of stuff can affect the development of children, but also just safety as well.
Yes.
I'm sure the safety rates are up in houses compared to
Yes.
apartments,
Oh yes.
right? So
Oh,
it's,
yes.
it's a good deal all around, and it's also a safe investment, like you said, so
Yes. Yes.
super great.
Yes, and what also differentiate us, like me, from a lot of the people,
Yeah.
is that I'm not just an agent or broker selling the products,
Right.
but I also am a landlord. I own rental properties,
Right.
so I talk to tenants. I know what they're going through,
Right.
and I know the good, the bad, and the ugly of being a landlord. So when people come to me and say, I want to earn a residual income, a second source of income, a passive income, I want to buy a second home for rental. Then I will sit them down and tell them the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I always encourage them to buy it. But it's better to know the obstacle ahead and prepare themselves financially and mentally.
So, if you would, could we get into some of the things just on the outside? What if I was looking to become a landlord, or what kind of obstacles would somebody face if they come to you and say, I would like to have a second source of income? Like, what would happen if, like, you've probably experienced? Have you experienced somebody being late on their rent? Have you experienced people that won't leave and they're not paying? Like, what are some of the obstacles, or what are some of the ups? Like, what does that look like for somebody that's in that position?
Yeah, like you said, it will happen. Is the question is when? The people, it's always going to happen. The question is when, and when it happens, are you prepared for it? So being late and not paying and not wanting to leave, and sometimes find a reason to sue you for it. Those will always happen. The question is when. So how do you prepare for it? So if you are an investor wanting to earn a second source of income, there's a few things to think about. First of all, you buy a property for cash flow, not for appreciation. Not buying it in this area thinking that it will go up 5 months or a year, and then you can sell it. What if it doesn't go up? It stay there or it go down. That's when you run into problems.
So you're saying people shouldn't buy it expecting it to appreciate.
You should buy it having a positive cash flow. Buying it for the positive cash flow. Like if you can rent it for $6,000 and your mortgage and expense is only $4,000.
Then you're $2,000 over.
Then you have that $2,000 cushions. Don't use it. Put it in a savings plan. And then buy it at a fixed interest rate. Whatever interest rate it is, fixed. So you don't have that unexpected rise of interest, because we never know when it's going to go up or go down.
Because if it crashes, then you're in a tough spot.
And then the third thing is you should always have cash flow as like a savings for that cushions. So when that time comes, when the tenant pay late and you have to evict them, and usually it takes about like 2 to 4 months to evict, to go to court and evict a tenant, and then there's a lot of other costs that are associated with that. I usually don't go through with the whole court process. I try to buy them out, like cash for keys.
Really?
Yes. So that's why.
You'll buy somebody out of your own space.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's actually good for them and great for us.
Then going to just rent the room out to somebody else, and they get enough to go their way.
Yes, because spend wasting your time going through the whole court, and then you have to hire the people, the constable, to come and move their stuff, and get a moving truck and get a storage area. It's a whole 9 yards.
So you're just saying, let's just do this really quick. Here's your cash. I'm not going to go through this process.
But always go through the eviction process. Sometimes I have a client, they wait until the last day that I'm going to go to court to actually empty out the apartment themselves. So I go and I check. I'm like, okay, it's good. You didn't leave any trash. Okay, I don't go to court anymore. And now it's in default. Then they don't lose their credit. But if they don't come on the last day and they're still there, then I go to court and they have it in their eviction record.
All right. Man. So
that's why working with us, we are not here for just the good time only, but we're here for the bad time too.
Is there anything else you want to say? Maybe we can get that episode out sometime.
Sure. Okay. I would love that. So my final word for everyone is, don't be afraid to dream. And a dream, I strongly believe in the American dream that if you work hard, you can buy a house and you can raise your family safely and freely. So don't be afraid to ask questions, thinking like, I only have a few $1,000s in my bank account. A dream of owning a home is out of reach. You will realize that there's so much that you can do to help you realize that dream. Thank you for watching.